it will be available there. So yesterday, at the end of the day, I said that I would give you a small homework, but after some consideration, I thought just a night before we meet again, and I decided, okay, that's fine. Just give you the some time to review what we have done yesterday, and with that, I don't send you the additional problem set. Today, we are going to wrap up the course, really do some empirical work, and then I will give you a beautiful, comprehensive problem set. That will make our day, right? So with that, I want to start our lecture. So today we will focus on practical modeling. I will talk about some extension of the linear model. The purpose of this discussion is to show you how flexible the OLS model is. Even though its name is linear ordinary least square, and it's the estimator is named linear estimator. It's linear. It's linear in the sense like it is a linear combination of the dependent variable. Yeah. So by linear OLS, it has to be a linear estimator. So I may have mentioned here and there during the course what do we mean by a linear, but the idea is that it is the linear combination of the dependent variable, linear, the estimated coefficient B is equal to AY. Yeah, this is a kind of the idea of a linear estimator. And in this case, in our specific case, the OLS, it is x prime x to the minus 1 x prime y. So this is the A, yeah. Yeah. So this is what we mean by a linear estimator. And the first assumption, now these are two different things, right? The linear estimator is the linear combination of the dependent variable. And the first assumption of our ordinary least square model seems to make everything, to narrow everything down. And many of you might have found that the model is quite disappointed because it can only cover the linear relationship. No, that's not the case. So today I'm going to show you that the model could cater a large number of nonlinear models. You can, by flexibly modeling our relationships, we can make the model can help us to estimate a large number of relationships. Yeah. So let us start with the session 4. A general approach to modeling nonlinearities using multiple regression. And so you all have read the slides. The most awkward thing for me, I find, is to read the slides myself. Come on, you already read it, right? So if not, I I give you some time to read the the slides yourself. But so today is a very special day that I will try to repeat myself with the slides. So when we do empirical modeling, sometimes linear models might not be sufficient to meet our to reflect the theoretical guidance of the models. For example, we are all very well aware of the solo growth model, right? So the solo growth model, the dependent variable is GDP, and GDP is a nonlinear function of capital, labor, technology. Of course, in empirical modeling, we also include variables such as institutions, government ideologies, and so on. Yeah, democracy. Many, we economists often are interested in estimating or in trying to explore if more democratic countries grow faster than less democratic countries. And generally, there is no clear evidence telling which one is better at fostering economic growth. Of course, most of the finest minds in economics are from democracies, democratic countries, Western democracies. And they would find it very hard to believe that less democratic countries can grow as fast as, or even faster than democracies. This is a complicated question. It depends a lot on where the country is. But the truth is, using the available measures of democracy, Vietnam would be considered as a non-democratic system. China also. Maybe not of course, North Korea is also. So, but if we examine the economic growth in the last 30 years or so, Vietnam and China are doing very well. Yeah. So, why I'm saying about this is that you are equipped with enough information to do very sensible analysis now. If you are interested in explaining the determinants of economic growth, you are welcome. And now the first step, if you want to do empirical modeling now, is not that, okay, I have done this BMAC course, I have done that research methodology course, and based on my course, I'm going to estimate this model. No, it doesn't work that way. We are standing on the shoulders of the giants. Many economists before us have done their analysis and have found different conclusion. So if you want to start your analysis, you have to read the literature, see what they have done. Now, the nice thing is, now if you read the papers, most of the time you would understand what they are talking about. And, when you read the already existing research articles, you won't ask the question, what can I do? What should I do? What can I do? Can I improve on the already available results? If yes, that's congratulations. You will get a beautiful publication very soon. Or maybe my interest is just simply I want to replicate some of the guys with permanent head damage who have done the regression and reported the results. I want to check it if it's really the case. Yeah. So these are by PhD, I mean permanent damage, right? I mean, it's okay for me to say that, but not for you. But that's fine. But the idea is, it's already very interesting if you want to replicate those results. So replication might be the first step to start your research career if you are interested in. Or replication is also relevant for you to understand the work the others have done. Yeah. Okay. So what non-linear shapes does it suggest? Then you can suggest specify a non-linear function and estimate its parameters by the OLS. Okay. Once you run the regression, you have to ask whether the nonlinear terms are relevant, right? So we come back to our regression model that we have been using in the last few days. Yeah. So now you have okay, let's say we have this model. Okay, so this is the model. And now let's have a look at this model. So in this model, we are explaining we are interested in finding the factors influencing our wages and salary. That's very important, right? That's very important. Then if we only include the variable h, let's say for the sake of a demonstration, now I will remove the variable h square. Yeah. So the regression no longer has the variable h square, and you may see that the estimate seems to be okay, right? It still get a positive and significant at 5% level, right? Significant coefficient on age. And the interpretation is every time you are 1 year older, yeah, if you are 1 year older, I will explain how to interpret the relationship between log and levels, variables very soon. So this interpretation is every time you are every year you get older, you get about 0.18% higher wages and salary. So that will lead us to a contradiction. The longer we live, the higher the wages and salary. Come on, when you are 90, you don't want to work anymore. People don't want to pay you. Yeah. So in that case, it seems not very sensible. If we make our conclusion that as people get older, they wouldn't get higher wages and salary. So we have to say, okay, when we start working, our wages and salary might be low, but as we keep building up our experience, our wages and salary will be higher. But definitely, it will not be higher forever. It will have to level out after some time. And in that way, it is reasonable to include a square term of h. And what we get is a new regression model that has an h square terms. And you may see that the impact of h is now much stronger, right? But the impact of h square is negative, meaning it is like if you picture in your you want to picture up in your head, your mind, a relationship, then this is a typical quadratic function. Y is equal to ax plus bx square, right? Plus or maybe ax square plus bx plus c, and ax in this case is negative, meaning that it is an inverted u-shaped function. The inverted u-shaped function, and in that way, we can interpret that after some time, people start working, they will gain more and higher wages and salary. But after some time, they will that impact will wear out, and they no longer earn higher wages and salary. Thanks, just because they get older. Yeah, getting older will not give you more wages and salary. Basically, the age variable represents other variables that we cannot measure. It's mainly experience, and it might also be other demographic characteristics. The older you get, the more likely that you get married. And if you get married, you have children, and you will have the responsibility. You feel much more responsibility. You work harder, you try to improve on your performance, and you get promoted, for example. Not that you get married and then you have to work harder because your wife asked you so. But it's because of the nature of the demographic characteristics of the individuals. Yes? Now, so if once we run the regression and we want to know if our inclusion of nonlinear term is acceptable, you type test and you type H2, you will see immediately that if we reject the null, the probability of committing a mistake is quite high. Yeah, it's almost 0. So we cannot reject the null, and we cannot reject the null. We have to include the square term into our model. Yeah. Okay. So this is a typical relationship and an illustration of a nonlinear relationship. So if we only look at now, you for a moment, you ignore the blue lines. You ignore the blue lines, and you will see that if we run a regression model, that we ignore the nonlinear relationship, we would have this one. Yeah. However, close examination shows us that, yeah, it's not really that linear, but somehow it is nonlinear. And the inclusion of a nonlinear term might be called for. Okay, so not only linear in the sense that you can only include a square term, you can also include a quadratic, the cubic function, or you can include the fourth power. But let's say, unless there is a very strong reason to include the cube or the quad or the power 4. Most of the time, researchers focus on this relationship, the square term. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to talk about a very important point. I hope that if you are dozing off over the computer, please give me the opportunity to talk about this. Now, it comes to if you have born with me so far. So now, except some of you were having the vaccination, we have an impressive number of participants this time, 42. And the course this year is not easier than the course it was easier than the course in 2017. Yeah. In 2017, I had 39 registered or participants, and in the end, only 9 people will remain to take the examination because after some time they could not. They just acknowledged that the course was useful, but they didn't dare to take the examination. And the ones who took the examination are mostly now have finished their master degree or now are doing their PhDs. But yeah, after that I have to reconsider because the course should be organized for the whole class, not only for the ones who have a research-oriented direction. And yeah, the course has been tailored to that direction. But I would say that my feeling is this year you are doing much better. Maybe thanks to COVID, but come on, that's somehow it sounds very wrong to make that assessment. But the thing is, when we do online, you have the computer in front of you, and sometimes the demonstration goes easier. This is something the hard lesson that I learned. I will try to incorporate this experience into the future courses when we do even on-site courses. Yeah. So 42 and 4 are having vaccination, and 4 are still sleeping. So come on. That's fine. But the thing is, if you could bear with me until now, please give me the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into modeling issues. Why? Because what's the point? To learn econometrics, ordinary least squares, and then someone may ask you, how could I model this thing? And you say, I don't know. He just taught me theories. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So now you need to understand the very common basic practice that researchers often do. Now I talk about logarithm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why is it the case that if you, I think you must have noticed in the last sessions, when we discuss, we replicate the empirical results from other papers, you often see that people take the log, right? You have the log of the wages and salary. You have the log of the expenditure. Talking about expenditure, thank you, is still a question is still waiting here. But talking about the log of expenditure by candidate A, candidate B, and so on. So why do we need to take the log? Yeah. So I want to draw your attention to this, to the case here. Now, I want to load the data into memory. This is typically the data about the Vietnamese Living Standard Measurement Survey. But I may have a different idea. I will ask you to do the empirical work also, not to use any do file that I have written for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my question for you: have you all downloaded the folder, the share folder the share folder VHLSS 2016. Have you all downloaded this data set? No? There is, it was a WinRAR file. Now there was a WinRAR file there. Now I won't get it for you. I just deleted in the morning. Come on. This is very costly. But the idea was, it was not a folder. I gave you a WinRAR file. And now I deleted once I thought that you have downloaded. Otherwise, I can get it for you. Now, if you have not downloaded, so the idea is here. If you do research or if you do your thesis, even your thesis, you will go to the National Data Archive of different countries or maybe of the firms. And firms and companies and countries will not prepare the data for you. They will give you a raw database like this one. You would have different files. And the files are the files here record different sections of the survey. Yeah. Now, so have you downloaded this data? It was originally a WinRAR file like this one. No, originally it was this one. Yeah. And I deleted. So if you have that file in your computer, you can right click on it and you choose extract here. You won't get the data like I do. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, please get the data. The data is now available online already. I need your support. Please download it. No, it's 9:30. The data could be downloaded during the break time. That's what I mean. Not to waste our time. So let's keep going for 20 more minutes, and then we will. I will give you the during the break. You can do you can download yourself, right? For now, it won't be a waste of time if I stop the class and I give you the time to download the data. It doesn't work. Now, so I will demonstrate it a little bit because I know that this thing will be saved for later for later of the day. Yeah. So now I have the data here. I have the VHLSS 2016. There is a so-called bảng hỏi, that is questionnaires. You know, so the data, if you open the questionnaire, you will see that it has a lot of sections, and this is a very comprehensive data set. This is the abstract of the data set, and then there will be information about ethnicity and so on. And the first section is about danh sách các thành viên hộ, that is family members, household members. You have the first question. The first question will be the name and the name of each member, and then the gender, and then the relationship to the head of the household. It could be the head of the household himself, the wife, children, the grandparents, grandparents, and so on. Yeah. And then when the individual was born, age, and so on, and so on. Now, so this 1A session record information about the household members, and if this is a questionnaire, if you go to the database here, you would have the data mục 1A. This data set record. Now, ladies and gentlemen, record all the information. You may have a look here. So there will be information about M1AC2, that is mục 1, mục 1 câu A, mục 1A câu 2, right? That is section 1A, question 2. That is the gender. Nữ, nam. See? This is the gender of the individual. And if you take a look at the Excel file, you will see that question number 2 is about gender. Okay, about gender. Then question, let's say we talk about question 1, 8, section 1A, question 8. What is it about? You see something like weird Vietnamese coding, but that's when we find. I will show you how to code them into nominal data later. Yeah. Okay. And you examine question 8. It's about marital status. That is number 1 is single, number 2 is married, number 3 is widows, widowers, number 4 is divorced, number 5 is separated. Yeah, so this is the demographic information. That is section 1A. This is section 1. Then you may now I will show you. That is section 1. How about section 2? Let's talk about section 4. Section 4 is about work and income. The same. This will be, you will see the first cell here is mã số. That comes from the fact they have given each person an identity number. And the same person who gave information in section 1A will also be asked in section 4. But the data are stored in separate files. So you have to combine, combine them together, right? You have to combine them together. So in this case, you may see that question 1 in section 4 is about your work. In the last 12 months, any members of your family received any payment, either monetary or in kind, from one of these activities. This is the last section already. Let's say we focus on the first section. That is for 0. For A, yeah. The first thing is, let's focus on the first one, yeah. For A, that is income. In the last 12 months, you can be classified as working, self-employed, agricultural self-employed, or non-agricultural self-employed. So this information will provide information. This section asks information about people's working status. And there will be the information about where you work, what kind of occupation that you have, and then what kind of service that your company or the place that you work are providing. And then there will be information about how much you earn. For example, in the last 12 months, how much was your income? Yeah, what's your income? This is something. So this is actually if you go back to our discussion so far, you may remember that we use the log yearly pay. Yeah. So the log yearly pay is the log of the information in this question. Okay. Now, having said that, now I will load the data of session 4A into data, right? So let me load it. I go to the, now, as we proceed, you will learn multiple ways of loading the data. But what I'm doing is I can drag it into my data. 4A here, right? 4A, I drag it. It will go to my 4A. And when I drag it, I will get the, for free. A command here. Yeah, a command here. Yeah, I get for free a command here. Now, I would recommend that you have to include the subcommand clear at the end of your command. So that's data. If you have some data, unchanged data in memory, data will clear that and import the new data. This is actually a dangerous command. If you have not saved your do file, you have made some changes to your data, and if you clear, it will automatically clear everything in the memory. So you have to be careful. But if you do not clear the data, and you not include the subcommand clear, it might not agree to load the data in. Okay, so this is the maybe for do file of my life. Okay, good. Now you load the data into memory, and you see that the variable names are named exactly according to the variable names in the questionnaires. Yeah. So the nice thing here is that the names of the variables are named according to the name of the questions that the variable contain that record that information. So if we do not understand what a certain variable contains, what kind of information that it brings, you can revisit the questionnaire and have a better understanding of the variable. Yeah. Okay. So now I want to let's say we are interested in explaining the changes in yearly income or the determinants of yearly income, right? Of yearly income. So let us together show, visualize the data on income. Let's say, let's do it this way. We do it. We say histogram. Then question number 11, that is tiền công tiền lương in the last 12 months, that is income in the last 12 months. Now, if you do the histogram of this variable, you will see that it has this distribution. Ladies and gentlemen, assumption number 6 is that epsilon is a combination of a deterministic part, x beta, plus epsilon. So epsilon is a linear combination. I'm sorry, y, the dependent variable, is a linear combination of epsilon. And epsilon is assumed to be normally distributed. So y must also be normally distributed. But actually, this is not. And this is a typical picture of the income distribution. Many people, the majority of the people, will earn something of quite low on average. But some of you, especially those who graduate from VGU, have very high income. You know, so the height of the columns here indicates how many people. So a lot of people are earning somewhere of 50 million per year. But the VGU students are here. They are earning about 1 billion per year, at least. You know, so in that way, it is not normal. It is not normal. But let me do something. Now, there is an interesting feature or property of the log function. If you take the log of a variable, the variable will increase if you take the log of x, when x is small, variable log x increases quickly as x increases. But when x is very large, the change slows down. That, if you remember the solo growth model, that would be the solo growth diagram. That would be a beautiful picture to remember, right? So if I take the log of income, I will type generate log yearly income is equal to the log of M for A P11, right? If you do that, you will get a new variable down here. And if you visualize it, you will see a totally different distribution. Now, let's say I impose a normal curve there. It is not perfectly normal, but at least it looks more normal. It looks it has a shape that is more closer to the normal distribution. If you have the normal here, no, it is not, right? But if you have the log, it looks better. It is not perfect, but at least it is less skewed to the right. Yeah. So taking the log, ladies and gentlemen. Now, actually, if you consider monthly income histogram, that is yearly income. Now we have monthly income. That is question 9, I think. Again, this is not. Here, this is monthly income, and it looks even worse, right? But if you take the log of monthly income, hay. Okay, now histogram. See? Yeah, it is again not perfect, but the transformation makes the variable looks more normal. Yeah, look more normal. So this is the reason why we take the log. Yeah, if we do not take the log, the variable is very skewed to the right. A lot of people just earn a little down here. Some people earn 1 billion per month. Yeah, so that makes the distribution. And when the variables, ladies and gentlemen, when the variables are very different from each other, I mean when the distribution is very skewed to the right, the estimation will be unstable. Why is it that it is unstable? Because if you have a y variable that varies so much, between some people earn 1 million per year and the other earns a billion per year, that will make it the change is so large that the estimate is not stable. Yeah, it's not stable. So for that reason, we often take the log, and taking the log will make the distribution will rescale. Taking the log is like you rescale the distribution, making it um, uh, uh, transforming it so that it will be more like a normal distribution that fits into our assumption number 6. Good. So that's the reason why we need to take the log. Okay, now there is a table here. I want to explain the implication when we run a model, an empirical model, with different ways of specifying the law, right? In the first model, that's the model we discussed yesterday when we talked about the R&D intensity and the log of sales. Remember that? Or when we talk about the vote share candidate A would get if he or she given the log of their expenditure and the log of the opponent's expenditure, right? So that is when on the left hand side, ladies and gentlemen, when on the left hand side you have this is level, right? This is level. And on the right hand side you have log, right? The interpretation is that 1% change in X is associated with 0.01% unit change in Y. As we discussed yesterday. And why is that the case? Let me show you. So if you want to know what is the change in X and what is the change in Y, given a change in X, our natural step will be to take partial Y over partial X, right? So it will be equal to partial Y over partial ln X times partial ln X over partial X. Remember that? Okay, this is something you need to remember when you take the compound function, the derivative of the compound function. So in order to understand how much a change in X will lead to a change in Y given a change in X, you take the total differentiation of both sides. You say, okay, a change in Y can only come from a change in, this is a constant, it cannot be changed, right? It is a constant, so it doesn't change. Plus beta 1 times partial, maybe d log X over dx times delta X, right? Plus so on, and of course. So in this way, you may see that when if we assume all other variables to be zero, to be constant. So we are talking about fixing all other elements. I will focus my attention to only one thing. That is a change in X. So we will say, okay, a change in Y in this case can only come from a change in X. And if the change in Y can only come from a change in x, and then delta y is equal to beta 1 times d log x over dx is delta x over x. Let's say in this case we have x equal 100. Okay, now so I want to take at 100 just for the sake of exposition, and delta x is 0. Is 1. Is 1. Okay, it's 1. So delta y, in this case, we would have delta y is equal to 0.01. I'm sorry. Now beta 1 times 0.01. Fair enough? 0.1. So this is the ratio of the change, and the unit is the ratio. So you most of the time it's difficult to make the interpretation in this way. So we change the unit. You change the unit of measurement. So you change 0 to 0.01 into 1%. Okay, into 1%. So you change the unit of measurement. Originally, it was a non-unit. Now you change it to the percent. So it is now 1%. Instead of 0.01, it is the new measurement. It is 1. So you have multiplied the original change by 100. Then you have to divide it by 100. So it will be equal to beta 1 times 1 over 100. And you write it equal to beta 1 over 100 times 1. And 1 here is 1%. And your interpretation will be, if x changes by 1%, y will change by beta 1 over 100 unit. Okay, remember why we have that interpretation, because in this, on the left hand side, y is being measured in the level, right? And on the right hand side, it is in log level. So the similar interpretation will lead us to the following conclusion. If the dependent variable is the log in the log level, then, and the x variable is in the level, in this level, then the interpretation is a change in x by 1 unit, because x is in levels, right? The change in x by 1 unit will lead to 100% times 100% times beta 1 change, 100 times beta 1% change in y. Percent change in y. Percent change in y. Yeah, that's the idea. Why is it the case? If you write it out, you will see that delta y over y equal to beta 1 times delta x, right? So we come up to, if y is 100 and delta y is 1, right? And then in that case, 1 over 100 is equal to beta 1 times x times delta x. Beta 1 times delta x. And if you want to make it into percent change, that is 1%. That is, you are going to times both sides by 100, right? So times 100 here, and then 100 here. You times both sides by 100. On the left hand side, you will say this is in percentage term. Okay, in percentage term. Good. And similarly, if both the logs appear in both sides, then you would say 1% change in x is associated with 1% change in y. And this is pretty straightforward. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So now it is 3 minutes to 10. Ladies and gentlemen, I will give you a break now. You will need to download the data. Yeah, you download. My advice is that you download the raw file. This one, if you haven't done so, you download the raw file, and then you. Why is that the case? Because the file size is very small. It's easier to download, and then you extract it. You right click and extract it to your folder. Then I will show you how to combine. After the break, we will learn how to combine different data files into a single one so that we can do the analysis. Yes. So that is the break time. Welcome, Công Ân. I think the vaccine will not take a toll on you until the maybe late in the afternoon when the course is already done. So welcome back. Okay, now it's the time for the break. And what I'm telling people to do is you have to download the data. Yeah, download this data and extract it to your folder so that we can learn how to process this. The word for this activity is data processing. Yeah. Okay, please do so. I will ask you all to replicate the results, and I would be very disappointed if any of you, respond by saying, "Oh, I have not succeeded in downloading it yet." You have to notify me immediately if you could download it when we start. Yeah, just to make it, just to make the. I will stop sharing now. And just to make the I try to send it via WebEx, but I don't think that's possible, right? Okay, it will not allow us to send big file, large file via WebEx. So please use the download the data from the share folder, and I will we will continue. We will continue in 15 minutes. Yeah.
Học cái slide logarithm rồi cảm ơn.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please come back. Please come back. And so by now I suppose that all of you have the data available in your folder, right? Now, so together with me, please. Now we need to do something. We need to start our analysis to determine the determinants of income, let's say. Yeah. Okay. So let's do it together. Firstly, if you look at the data, you will see that they have given you multiple data files, and you need to we need to combine them together. So yes. So for some reason, I am seeing more videos being open. That's a good sign. If you want to say goodbye now, no, in 2 hours. But it would be a nice idea if we could all open our video by the end of the course and have some. Maybe we can take a photo of all videos available. That could also be a good idea, yeah. But for now, please keep focused. Keep focused. So now we need to combine the data together, and our goal now is to let's say thank you. I have not shared my screen, right? Thank you. Yeah. The only good decision that I made before I left Bình Dương was to bring with me a big screen. So now even though I have a small laptop, I am having a big screen. So when I share the screen, I can still see your videos. That's it gives me the feeling that I am talking in a class, and I can't stop looking at the videos. Why? Because the feeling of talking to no one is very scary, you know. So I would be very thankful if you all could turn on your video. You know, the nice thing of turning on the video is that I can also, to some extent, control what you are doing. So I just overheard my children talking to each other. So the girl was telling the boy, you know, I could make 4 what's that? 4 birds. I mean, they fold. I could fold 4 birds during my Vietnamese literature class. And I just came to ask her, so what did you do during your class? But that's the problem is, you know, so where I do ask my children to turn on the video, and even with the video, they could still do things in class. It would be nice if you all could turn on the video, yeah. I understood from talking to the German flying faculties, they feel very uncomfortable because we turn off the video. But I also explained to them that if everyone turns on their video, the bandwidth may become a problem. So yeah. So let's keep going. Okay. Now, our goal today is we are going to do the analyze the determinants of individual, let's say yearly, annual income, okay, annual income, okay, annual income. And I will do it in a parsimonious way. Of course, once you learn how to do it, you can extend your analysis to focus on different aspects of the product. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we need to do when we plan to carry out such an analysis is to combine data together. So, what are the commonly thought of determinants of income? You would immediately think of gender, age, ethnicity, urban or rural area, the industry of work, occupation of work, sectors of work. Now, what do I mean by occupation? So when we talk about occupation, the reference framework is the so-called ISCO 08. Okay, ISCO. It is the International Standard Classification of Occupation. And when we talk about the industry of work, industry here has nothing to do with công nghiệp, okay? Industry of work. That we talk about is ISIS. Revision 4. Now, this is the International Standard Classification of all economic activities. So occupation in Vietnamese is nghề, and industry in Vietnamese is ngành. Okay, so what is the difference between ngành and nghề? When we talk about occupation, that is nghề, we talk about the content of skills that a worker possesses. So if you look at the major categories of the industry, you may see that here, if you look at the classification structure, you may see that it will the workers are classified into groups. So the first groups will be leaders, managers, and so on. That is the skill set that they have. And then you would have high skilled workers. For example, let's say, let's have a look at the ISCO in a more, yeah, let's say, I'm going to use, I'm going to use Wikipedia, so it will be easier. So you will see there are managers, professionals, technicians, and associate technicians are professionals, clerical support workers, service and sales workers, skilled agricultural, forestry, and fishery workers, craft and related trade workers, plant and machine operators and assemblers, elementary occupations, and you have the armed forces occupations. Yeah. So looking at the label of the group, you might also have some idea on the basis of classification. That is the skills level. Yeah, what kind of skills that you have. If you look at the I6, the focus is no longer the skills level, but the focus will be on the products of the activity, you know. So the focus will be on the products of the activity. I'm trying to, I mean, maybe the best way is to go to Wikipedia, you know, it's easier. Here, you would have 21 industries. You have agricultural, forestry and fishing, mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, construction, public administration, education, human health and social work, and so on. So the industries classify activities according to the goods and services that the firm produces. Yeah, a firm produces. So wages and salary are different when you work for different services. The same visual student who work for Goldman Sachs will earn about $300,000 per year. But if he works for the Vietnamese government, he will earn about 300 million đồng per year. So there's a difference there. Yeah. So working for the public, or if you work for the education sector, it's even lower. Why? That's because of the nature of each industry, right? So if we want to explain the variations in a person's wages and salary or income per year, we have to look at all of those aspects. Now, the reason why I make references to these classifications is that you know, you will come across them in the future, and if you want to do analysis, somehow you have to look at them. Now, and unfortunately for us, the information are measured in are stored in different files. So section 1, in section 1, you have demographic information. In section 4, you have job characteristic information. So you have to combine them together, and you will see if we open now. Can you all please open section 1 of the database now? So if you want to open section 1, the easiest way is to click on open. You list data to the folder or the directory where you store the data, and you choose section 1A. You open it, it will ask, the data before has not been saved. Do you want to save? If you put don't save, it will put the clear option at the end of the command. Yeah, so the first thing we do is we load the data into our memory. You open the data editor. Now, can you all please check if you all are on the same page with me. Please check open the data editor. Okay, ready? Yes. Now we will have a look at the first column. Record information about thing. Yeah, about thing. That is the province. So number 1 is Hanoi. It's just a convention. Hanoi is not number 1 in many senses. And then Kon Tum is number 62. Yeah. Vĩnh Long is number 86. And within a province, within one province, there will be the districts. That is huyện. You would have district 1, district 2, and so on. Within a district, you would have the commune. Right? Within one district, you would have commune number 16, commune number 4. And within one commune, you would have the địa bàn here is the thôn. Yeah, you have the thôn or xóm, and so on. And within that thôn xóm, That is the commune, even the village. Within the village, you have, or maybe tổ dân phố, right? And within that one, you have the hộ số. That's the household identifying number. So maybe it will be your household, your house number, số nhà, or something. But it has been collected by the administrative bodies, right? And then within a household, you would have the so-called personal identification number. That is mã thành viên. So if you will see that for Hà Nội huyện, district 1, commune 4, village 8, household number 14, the first one is a woman, it's nữ. It is household head. The second one is a man, and it is not the household member. It is khác. So if you have a look here, so it will give you the information about the relationship with the household head. It should be household head, a wife or a husband, children, parent, grandparents, maybe grandchildren, and in this case it's number 7. It is something that is not recorded here. Yeah, so this is in that case. Now, if you want to see how systematic the information is recorded, a very useful command is to type sort tỉnh, huyện, xã, địa bàn, hộ số, mã thành Việt. If you run this command, you paste it into your do file. Now I will copy both commands and paste it into my do file. Right? This is what I would have. And if I look at my data editor, you will see that it will give me the information. So for the first household, there are 2 members, number 1 and number 2. The second household, there are 5 members. That is the household head, the wife, 2 children, and a grandparent. It is typical Vietnamese family, right? You have 3 generations in a household. For the second household, you have 1, 2. For the third household number 13, you have 1, 2, 3. Okay. So in this case, you have household head, his wife, and a grandchildren. Yeah. So this is the information about the household. Now if we open the section 4A, if we open section 4A, now I will open it. Now I will open it and I'll show you. You don't have to. You have a look here. I open section 4A. I do the same sorting thing. And if from these questions record different information, but the first 6 variables record the same information. Tỉnh, huyện, xã, địa bàn, hộ số, mã thành Việt. And now, if we want to do the analysis, we have to combine them together. Is that right? So there is a command in Stata to merge two data sets together. And that command will be, now the first one is to load the data into the memory. The second one will be, you will type merge. Now together, please do it with me, merge. Merge 1 to 1. On which variable? Tỉnh, huyện, xã, địa bàn, hộ số, mã thành viên. Okay, using which data set? You say, use this data set for me. Okay, now please run the command. Okay, now you run the command. Have you successful in running the command? Have you been successfully run it? Okay, good. Anyone having a problem, please let me know. I assume no problem at all, right? I assume no problem at all. So now I will, can you please scroll down to the bottom of your variable list? And there is a new variable, underscore merge. Okay, merge. This variable contains the information about the merging results. So if you type tab merge, you will see that it has the information. All observations are successfully merged. And there is no mismatching. Later on, you will see that there will be some mismatches. But in this case, everything is okay. The problem is, now we looking at the do file. Section 1 is about demographic. I am teaching demographics. Okay. Section 2, section 4 is about work. Work. Characteristic. Right? Work characteristics. Now, of course, if we want to analyze the determinants of income, then demographic work characteristics might be okay, but at least one more thing is missing. That is education. Right? Education is recorded in section number 2. If you open section number 2, there will be information on 1, that is information about the highest degree obtained, highest degree completed. Okay, and then what kind of schools that you attend? Are you still going to school? And do you go to school in the last 1 year or so? That's the information. So the most important information we need when we do the analysis on the determinants of wage and salary is the highest degrees obtained, right? Highest degrees obtained. So we need to combine that variable. And I am a lazy person. Now this is something I want to show you some trick and to make it quick. Now, so in this one you have okay, mục 2 AB here means that you have the information about the second section, both A and B. Now, you have section A, this is A and B and C and so on. Yeah. So you may copy this mục 2A, AB, you copy the name, you go back to, that is mục 2AB, so you go back to your merge section. You say that now I will merge section 2 education. Okay, if I merge that, this is what I'm going to do. I will copy the whole line before, I paste it down there, and I will replace the name of the section that I want to merge. See? Okay, I want to merge. Okay, can you run it? Please run this command. I start seeing confusion on your faces. That's fine. That's what I intended to. So, do you see any red warning? And it said that the merge variable is already defined, right? Okay. So that is because every time you merge two data sets, a new variable with the same name underscore merge is created. So if you already have one variable with that name, it will not be able to run the second one. So there are two ways. There are two ways to solve it. The first one is, okay, I run the, now let's see my what I have done here. I run the merge commands. I know that the new merge variable is created here, and it has been tapped for me. And I see, there is something that I need to take care of. I have to yeah. So there is some information here. Firstly, the merge file is telling me. Now if you type tab underscore merge here and no label. Now if you type this one, you will get that one. So master only the variable, ladies and gentlemen, when we run the merge command, the data set in state already in data is called the master data set. The data set that you are going to merge is the using data set. And finally, you have the match sample. So if you type tab merge no label, you will see this is something that you can get some information about. Firstly, there is one observation which come from the master data, which come from mục 1, which come from this data set. There is one observation, but cannot be found in the mục 4 data set. Okay, now there are six observations which using only, meaning that could be found in the using data set but cannot be found in the demographic section. So these variables are not, these observations are not matched, are not merged, and later on you have to drop them, yeah, or you have to consider. And most of them are merged, meaning that okay, most of them are okay. So you understand it? Do you want to store this information, or you just want to ignore it? Most of the time I would ignore it. So I would simply, to avoid the problem, I would simply type here no generate. If I type that command, no generate, after running the merge command, I still get the report. I still get the report. However, no new variable is created. Okay, so if you see now, this is the tricky part. When you're supposed to merge, you are supposed to merge two sections of a survey, and a lot of information are missing. Let's say instead of having this result, you may have something like this one. You may have something like this one. Not match. Let's say 7,000. 7,000. Match from master is 3,000. From using is 4,000. And number match is something like 200. What does it mean? There is something wrong with the data. Yeah, if you are combining them and they cannot be matched. Yeah, combining them and they cannot be matched. So when this is the case, you have to come back and say, I need to have more attention to the data. Yeah. Otherwise, when the not matching, that is when merge is equal 1 or 2, the observations could not be merged. That is less than 1%. That should be okay. Why? Because when you have some people just refuse to answer some questions, for example, and in that case, sometimes it is missing. Now, if we merge section 2, then you have a look at the variable window. You will see that all of them are brought into one data set, one by one. Yeah, clear? This is what I want you to do. So you know how to merge two data sets. Now, having the data set in our memory, we can start doing something. Now, of course, you may argue this way: a person's income may also depend on his health status, right? So you may include section 3 here, which record information about whether you were ill, whether you had to, you was hospitalized in the last 12 months, and so on. But that's your job. For example, you want to do the analysis of health status on income, for example. That is your thesis, for example. You have to merge them and you have to start reading the literature to see what other people have done. You see how they specify their model, and then you come to the database, get the variables that you are interested in, right? Okay, so for today, we limit our discussion to these variables only, and that is already a lot of information that we have to take into account. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to let's say create a constructing the variable. Yeah. If I can keep lecturing until 1 o'clock, I think that you can also, right? Except Công Ngân. Okay. Because I mean I will go through quite in detail this process so that I give you a real sense of what to do. Yeah. Okay. So it might take a little bit longer than expected, but I hope that I can finish. Now I just give you a warning. So if you can get something to eat from now, just feel free. Now, so constructing the variable. The first variable. Now these are all very practical knowledge. Now the first thing, of course, let's say we want to know about income. So let's the first thing we focus on is income. So generate yearly income. Okay, yearly income. Now, how many components are there in yearly income is a very important question. You go to section 4. You go to, you go to section 4A, where the information is located, is stored. Number 1. By the way, you look at I talk about the industry and the occupation. That in the file they also include the information here. So danh mục ngành kinh tế quốc dân. This classification is based on the international classification. Yeah. So we have the Vietnamese classification here. Yeah. So mining and quarrying is khai khoáng. Manufacturing is công nghiệp chế biến chế tạo. Gas, electricity, and so on. They are exactly the same. It's just simply when you go to very detailed industries, then it will be different from the international one. Because, for example, in Vietnam, we have the job like dạy thêm. In the US, you would not have that, for example, right? Okay, so when it goes to very detailed industries, it might be different between countries. But in a general, in a higher level, the aggregation level, they are more or less the same across countries. So in any country, you would have education. In any country, you would have public administration and so on. Yeah. Now, so number 4.1. There will be the question about the most the time that takes the most the job that a person, like ladies and gentlemen, a person may have multiple jobs, right? So I have one job only, but some people may have 2 jobs. So the survey will have to cover many jobs, as many jobs as possible. But in this case, the first part, they cover the job that takes the most time in the last 12 months. That is main job. Right? Main job. And then you would have information about this is industry, this is occupation industry. And then you would have here. The first question number 10 is, in the last 30 days, how much is your income, both in kind and in monetary value? This is in the last 30 days, monthly income. And the next one is, in the last 12 months, how much was your salaries and wages, including monetary values and in-kind values? I remember some sad stories back in 2013 or so. So workers from a ketchup factory during the Tết holiday was paid about 20 bottles of ketchup. That is chili ketchup, right? So that is in-kind payment, right? In-kind payment. So if you are working on a gold mine, in-kind payment is okay. But if you are working in a ketchup factory and they pay you ketchup, 40 bottles during the Tết holiday, that would not be kind. That would not be kind at all, actually. Right? But that the payment is both in kind and in the monetary value. Now, but that is just now, ladies and gentlemen, please follow me. This is just wages and salary. You also have payment other than wages and salary, right? So in the last 12 months, besides wages and salary, do you get bonuses and so on? Yeah. So it is also another kind of income. So if we want to do the analysis on yearly income of the main job, then you have to combine them together. Combine them together, right? Combine them together. So the information on yearly income comes from question 11 and question 12. Now, if we go back to our data, you will see that the information are stored here. So firstly, you have section 4, question 11, section 4, question 12A, section 4, question 12B. See? They are all here. So how can we combine them? Now, let's say you put sum. Ladies and gentlemen, now you put sum. Section 4A, question 11. This is information. So there are 8,535 observations. The mean is now I want to put a little bit more information. Data here. Data are in thousands of VND. Okay. So the mean is 50,744. This is actually equal to okay. So in 2016, the average wages and salary per year for a Vietnamese adult is about 50 million. 50 million. Fair enough? That's information that you get. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how about the income from other sources? Let's say we make the sum of question 12A and you will see that the number of observations is the same, but the mean is very different. On average, a Vietnamese person earns the tiền lễ Tết and so on of about 2.2 million per year. Sounds okay? That is back into the 2016, right? We are developing very fast, so now it could be higher. Now, but let's say here, the mean number is the smallest income is 900,000, but the smallest bonus is 0, meaning that many people don't get a bonus at all. Some people get a bonus of 100 million. And the highest yearly income in the survey in 2015 was 480 million. Yeah, that is amount. Now, so what should we do? What should we do, ladies and gentlemen? Now we have to sum them together, right? So it will be generate yearly income equal to this one plus this one, and of course plus question B also. Okay, can you all run that one? So you will see that 27,259 missing value generated. What does it mean? If you now just for the sake of exposition, just order it. Order yearly income. When I run the command order yearly income, the variable income will be moved forward, so I can see it easily. Have you all been successful in doing this? Yes? Okay. Now, so this is the missing value. When does it happen? When someone is not working, right? Because we have the whole data set about the Vietnamese families, households. So some people who are doing econometrics now actually are not working. So they do not have the income last year unless, to be precise, your scholarship is not considered an income, I think. Because the income, that is a transferred income, right? It's not income, not labor income. No. So we are talking about labor income. So in that case, you have a missing value here. Now, could you please all do the command sum yearly income? I want to check if the others are doing are on the same page with me. This will be tough. There is a person whose number is 14650. Who's that? I'm interested in numbers. 14650. I can check using my own list. Hello. Hello, 14650. Hello, 14650. I couldn't identify that person. So let's say, I suppose that person is from another class. Okay, just forget about it. Now I ask someone else. So the problem is, this is how beautiful how excellent our students are. They log in to study online and they don't know that they have logged into a wrong class. Yeah. So, Mr. Đỗ Long Duy, are you there? Long Duy, I want to give you a plus, and that's I cannot resist that urge. Hello, Long Duy.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Long Duy. Have you run the command sum of the yearly income, Long Duy?
No, I haven't. I was losing, but I keep following you, but I was losing in somewhere. So when I start the yearly income, it was not working. Yeah. So from that is.
So why is it working for others? For Miss Thiên Trúc, for Miss Thanh Thủy, for Miss Minh Nguyên, and so on.
Yeah. So
but not for you.
Yeah, I try to figure it out. So.
Okay, good. Now, I can't give you a plus. I can give you a minus, but I don't want to. But come on. Now I want to ask. Nguyễn Vũ Minh Trang, hello Minh Trang.
Yes,
Minh
hello.
Trang. Hello. So what is the mean value of your yearly income?
I haven't done it because there's some problem with my data.
I almost fainted out. Okay. But I only told you need to be on the same page with me, right? Now, by the way,
Yes,
the video will be
Okay. Yes, I know.
the video will be recorded, and in 50 years you will watch back this moment. Help me. For some reason, you may turn out to be a lecturer, or if you want to, and then you will see. Okay, this is me 20 years ago. But anyway, Minh Trang, you have to try to figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
The
Yes.
worst thing you can do with a practical class is that you sit and listen to me. It doesn't work. I know that many of you are scrambled to get data run, but I hope that you could make it before I call your name. Nguyễn Thị Hương Mơ, hello Hương Mơ.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What is the mean income of mean yearly income that you get?
Yeah. The mean value is 900.
900?
Yeah.
No. I mean the mean, not the min. I mean the mean value.
Sorry. Is it 55
Okay,
million?
I'm showing you already. Okay, good. 55,447,000, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, that is yearly income, right? So it's the max is 540 million. Yeah, 540 million. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a warning here. And but before I give you the warning, I want to give Homer a plus. Okay, good. So let me continue. And before we go on, I want to give a warning. And this is vital. Ladies and gentlemen, when you sum two variables, like if one is missing and the other is not missing, the result will be missing. Okay. Now, note, where summing two variables, the results will be missing if one of them is missing. Now, to avoid this, the VHLSS has changed the missing value. So, for example, when people ask a respondent, what is your bonus? And if the respondent say, no, I don't have any bonus. There are two ways that the surveyors may record the data. One is that they leave it blank. When they leave it blank, that means missing. And if you sum main income with bonus, and bonus is missing, the total income will be missing. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm asking is, so you have to be very careful. So when you sum the variables, originally you have 8,535 observations for the case of question 11, and then when you make the sum, it's only 4,000, for example. Or if the number is different, that is because one of the components that you are summing is it has the missing values. Okay, so a safer way, now a better way to sum the variable in this case is to use the command egen yearly income equal to row total, and then you put all of these variables together. In between them are spaces. By this way, you will get the new variable that data will ignore the missing value. Even if one of them is missing, that missing will be treated as 0, and everything, and you will get the sum. Okay, you will get the sum. This is the idea. So please take that into account. Yep, exactly. That is the first variable. And time is not on my side, but this is the last time I could teach you, so why not dragging it until late night? Okay, no, but let's say this is what we have, right? I'm joking, don't worry. I see a lot of you have given strong reactions. I will not go until midnight, just in the evening, don't worry. But the idea is, you have firstly the yearly income, and as I mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before, we do not want to run a regression with income at the level of income as the independent variable. And so the last thing you need to do whenever you do the analysis of monetary value, okay, you have to take the log. So finally, you take generate log of yearly income equal to the log of. So you may notice one of the tips that I'm giving is that we name the variable with underscore so that we know the meaning of the variable. If I generate, I would have a new variable down here. Yeah, log yearly income, the first variable. Maybe you can name it the first variable of my life. Then that would be something that we could have. Now, so you can visualize it. And this will be our visual. This is something that we had before. Yeah. Good. So this is what we already had. Now I want to go on with. So what? How we want to build a model explaining the determinants of yearly income. So it might be important that the first variable we can think of again is age. Okay, now it's explanatory. Generate age is equal to what is it? You go to the data, you see this is age. Age is question 5A. Right? Question 5. It's question 5. So age is equal to this one. Generate. If you run the command, you would have the new variable age. Right? Variable age. Now you can still leave the variables as the m as if you don't want, you can still keep it and you leave it as the variable m1 ac5. But if you do your thesis, you will start realizing, and if you do the research after your bachelor degree, you will see that there are so many variables. If you don't name them in a sensible way, you will, you may spend more time on checking back and forth the meaning of the variables instead of running the analysis and writing the report. So we have to be very efficient here. Yeah, that's the first thing. Of course, following the reasoning in the morning, we have generate h square right. This is something we can now I put an h here. Now it comes to the key message now. Gender. Ladies and gentlemen, gender is in, if you it's in M1 AC2, so it's tab it will be nam and nữ. So this data set still carries some consequences of the Vietnamese War, right? Of the American War. The number of women are higher than the number of men. We are the opposite of China. China, the number of men will be higher than the number of women. But the reason why we have more women is of the older generation, many sacrificed in their war. Trần Minh Đức is saying that his data doesn't have the variable M1 AC5. Do you have, ladies and gentlemen? Minh Nguyên, stop using the phone. So do you have the variable M1 AC5? Okay. So many others have. I think Minh Đức, you have to check it. Minh Nguyên is now wishing I wish I did not open the video, but anyway, that's fine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on. So this is the so-called. We have this one. This is not a ordinal number, right? This is the variable. So gender generate gender. Yeah, S categorical variable. So in this case, they already code for you. They already code for you. Number 1 is man, male. Number 2 is female. If you type tab M1AC2 and comma no label, you will see it's number 1 and 2. Yeah, so This is what I mean. If you click on a variable, even though it has the letter on it, if you double click on it, you will get the value. See, this is, so what you see is the label, and deep inside it is a value. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now when you have a categorical variable, one of the things you have to do is to create a dummy. A dummy. So a dummy is not a I wouldn't dummy. That is not a sculpture thing. A dummy is a variable which takes the value of 1 if an observation satisfies some characteristics, some conditions, and 0 otherwise. Okay. So I'm going to explain why we need a dummy very soon. So you will generate gender equal to number 2, right? Now you need to put this one, gender equal to the question and then equal 1. If you run that command, you have a new variable gender. Tab gender. Now we are going to examine the variable. Let's type order gender, and then if you type order, we open the do file editor, you will see. So the variable was created with the command give the variable gender the value of 1 if the variable m1ac2 is equal to 1. So in this way, whenever a person is a male, gender takes the value of 1. If a person is female, gender takes the value of 0. Okay. So the dummy variable will represent any specific characteristics or any specific effects of the group male workers on wages and salary. So a person earns higher wages and salary because he is a male is a big problem that the society are talking about now, right? So we want to include that variable into the model. And I do not know how, do you think that men should earn more than women these days? Công Ngân is nodding very strongly. No.
I'm checking. I'm saying no.
Okay, I'm gonna say no, but that's okay. Minh Tiến is very much in agreement, right? Or not? But anyway, this is a society thing. You will learn quickly after running our model today that men in Vietnam are earning much more than women on average. After controlling for differences in education and work, industry and occupations. Maybe because men are whatever hardworking. or maybe men can spend longer hours at work. They work longer hours, they earn more because women have to anyway. Still, this is true. Women have to take care of the family, so they are not willing to do overtime work and so on. Yeah, so this might be a reason, but I don't know. Could be that they are lazier, but that I just say it softly. My wife is outside, but let's say we were all working online these days. But the idea is that now, so ladies and gentlemen, we need a dummy like that. Okay, that's his gender. Now I'm going to touch the point quickly. Now we talk about education. Now this is when the dummy is very important. This is now I am going to explain, and this is why it takes so much time to talk about the dummies. Now the variable on education is question 2A. That is we only care about their highest education degree, right? Highest education degree. Okay, and if now you type tab, now I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the lecture today. Now I come to the punchline and I'm done. Yeah. So the first one is không bằng cấp, no education. Two is tiểu học, trung học cơ sở, phổ thông trung học, cao đẳng, đại học, thạc sĩ, tiến sĩ và khác. Okay. So this is a sample only. Okay. How many people have the degrees of the a PhD degree? Is quite small, about 0.4% of the population, but that's okay. You don't need people with a lot of people with permanent attendance. You need people to work. Okay. Now then you have the master degree. Even though you see to you guys having a master degree is something natural, but you have to be very aware of the fact that you are the privileged group in the society. Yeah, many people still cannot go to even to the university. So I hope by saying that you will exert more effort to the research methodology course. But the idea is you have Đại học 1,771. So about 5.53% of the Vietnamese workers have some education. I has a bachelor degree, and so on. We can see that you can see that about almost 16% of the population have a high school degree or higher. Now, if you tap, now go on. This is the where I really want to tap. No label. You will see that here. When it is no degree, the variable is coded with number 0. Primary degree is number 1, secondary number 2, high school number 3, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12. Right? Okay. This is now let's do something. Generate education is equal to I'm sorry. education is equal to this. This is generate education equal to this variable. And now let's do something. Regress log yearly income. I'm going to the, even though it seems like I'm taking an endless route to talk about data management, but actually I'm going to the punchline. So it will be income is a log of yearly income is a dependent variable. Then you would have what else? H square, gender, education. Okay, let's focus on this simple model first. Education. And run it. Please run it. I have not run it yet. I will run the whole do file and I would get it. Okay, this is what I would have. Of course, you will have to bring in the model a lot more information, but and which variable to be included in the model depends on the theory and depends on your review of the literature. And many others have included those variables. Just for the sake of demonstration, I'm using this model. So how can we interpret the impact of education, ladies and gentlemen? Now, how should we interpret the impact of education? How should we interpret the impact of education? Of course, yearly income is in log level, and in log, and education is in unit, right? In level. How should I interpret the results? I need a volunteer here. I need a volunteer here. Hello, Volatility, have you solved the problem?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? I think
my data is not running really well.
Okay, then I will send out the new file later. But I have given you guys the same data. I promise I didn't discriminate
I got
anyone.
the same problem with Minduk.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So let's try to solve it later. Yeah, but please keep following the logic. Now, so how should I interpret that? I want to invite Mr. Vũ Minh. This is Vũ Minh Hiếu. Yeah. Hello, Minh Hiếu.
Hello.
Yeah. So can you please interpret the impact of education variable on yearly income?
I think when the education increased by 1 minute, the log of yearly income increased about 0.093%.
But that's not. But we have to increase the log increases. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, you can come home and say and tell your mother, "Mother, the log of my GPA has increased by 2 units." She would take a lot of time to convert it back to to the level. So can you say in level for my term? Yeah, I deliberately show you the table for some reason, you know.
So the education increased by 1 unit. The income increased by 9.3%.
That's it. That's what I want to hear, right? That's what I want to hear. That's really what I want to hear. That's a quick and satisfactory answer. You have a plus for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, so ladies, now I want to ask for your opinion. Now we examine. Now this is why I need to take that long. We examine the variable education, and we see one is primary, right? Two is this is very important. Please follow me. One is primary, two is secondary, three is high school. So whenever you reach a new level of education, the variable education increases by 1 unit. So, and then it jumps from high school to cao đẳng, that is a bachelor degree, it goes to 8. So meaning that a person with 8, with a bachelor, with a college degree would earn something like 45% higher than a person with a high school degree. And again, you see the inconsistency here. So when we go from 9 to 10, that is 1 unit of increase. A person in comparison with a person who have a bachelor degree, a person has a master degree earn something like 9.3% higher in comparison with a person who has primary education. A person with a secondary degree will also earn about 9.3% higher. It sounds very, so we are forcing the impact to be the same between people when people have obtained one more degree from primary to secondary or from bachelor to master. It doesn't make a lot of sense forcing it in that way, right? So now I want to emphasize my point here. Education again is a categorical variable. We have to create dummies, and each dummy represents one category. To allow the impact of education on income to vary across categories, right? So if you allow the dummies, now let me say this. So if a person get or we will create a new dummy. Let's say this one. Now let's say I will create the first one. Generate education and underscore no schooling. Okay, equal to education equal to 1, 0. Okay, if I run this command, a new variable education no schooling is created, and if I tap it, you will see that now this is what I want you. When I'm showing you these things, I am also introducing you to the commands that we can use to examine the data, right? So you will see of the variable schooling, education no schooling is here. 7,993 people have no schooling. So the ones who have no schooling will be given the value 1 in this variable. And all the people who have other education qualifications will be given a 0. So this is called a dummy. It takes a value of 1 if a person doesn't have any education, doesn't have any degree, and 0 otherwise. You understand what a dummy is? Okay. So my question to you, this question may bring in 5 pluses. This question may bring you 5 pluses. My question for you is, now I want to type it with a large font here, just to start the marathon, and who comes first. Now, if we have 5 education groups, how many dummies can we include into a regression model? 4. Okay. Thanh Thủy is saying 4. Thanh Thủy, can you? Morality is saying 2. Thanh Thủy is saying 4. Now, Thanh Thủy, can you explain why 4?
So basically, one of them will be keep at 0, and the other one is like 1. But then again, that doesn't make sense because all 4 groups will be 1. So I'm not.
Not yet. Not yet very clear to me. I will keep explaining a little bit more, and then see if you could provide me with a better, clearer answer. Okay. Now, so let me now create all the dummy variables. Now I already have one variable, right? I already have one variable, and now I'm a lazy person. I will do this one. Education now is primary. It is equal to 1, right? And then secondary, it will equal to 2. Now, normally when I do the programming like this one, I would make the tab command just to organize the commands in the same. I will try to make it easy for my partner to see. So this is high school. Okay, so let's say I create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional variables, and I will run them. Yeah. Master and more must be underscore. Yeah. So the variables must be in, you cannot have a space in the variable name. Okay. Now I want to order all of them. Education, here you will see. So I want to sort education. I want to sort is to order the education. Now I need the college, high school also. Now I will sort education. Now you look at my data editor, you will see that. So when there is no, now ladies and gentlemen, please have a look here. This is the very important point. When there is no information, no education, only the variable education, no schooling takes the values of 1, all other variables take the value of 0. When it comes to some education, that is down here, that is primary education, only the variable primary education primary take the value of 1, all others have the value of 0. Fair enough? And if you go down to college, only a secondary, only the dummy variable education secondary has take the value of 1. All other variables take the value of 0. Fair enough? If you go down, 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 and down to here, you will see that the dummies split the category variables into different groups. Okay. Now, this is the question for you again, Thanh Thủy, and this is why I said. So how, if I run the regression, now I want to improve on my regression model here, right? For sure, I want to improve on my regression model here, and I want to run, instead of including education, now I will include the dummies, right? To allow for the different impact of having no education, primary, secondary, high school, college, bachelor. I just want to make them in the same order. Okay, enter. What's that? Yeah, fair enough. Now, what happened if I run this regression? Thanh Thủy.
It will not make sense because there's, so because the dummy here is like either 1 or 0. So it's either 1 or 0. So if, actually, can I have a second to think this through?
All of you have 2 seconds. Let's give you 30 seconds to think about it. 5 pluses for this answer. Phạm Đình Ngọc Thảo is making a very good comment. Yeah, it makes sense, Volatility. I think it makes sense for me to spend so much time on this thing. But the thing is, what is the problem with this regression?
I don't know. I just don't think it's like will show. There's basically just either 0 or 1. If 1 is 1, then all of the other is 0. So when you consider the beta, it doesn't really show.
No,
It doesn't-
I want to be okay. I want to be more specific. Technically, what's the problem here? Now, don't start interpreting the result. Technically, I want to talk about technical.
Excuse me.
Okay, Hoàng Tuấn. Thank you. Let's give Hoàng Tuấn an opportunity. Hoàng Tuấn, can you say, please speak?
Yes. I think that maybe it's because of the multi-collinearity problem.
That's it.
Yes.
So, yeah, you see, in this regression model, theta will automatically include a constant. Okay, and if you sum all of these dummies together, it will create a constant. It will create a constant. So there will be two constants. So the constant will be a linear combination of these dummies. Yeah, so let me run the regression and you will see the problem. See? It said something. It said education master and more omitted because of collinearity. Right? Collinearity. Because of collinearity. So when this thing happens, theta will automatically throw out one variable, whatever it is, and run the estimation. Okay? Now this is a punchline. In order to avoid multi-collinearity or collinearity, we have to omit one group and consider that group to be the base group. Now, very important, base group. And now the interpretation will make sense, thank you. Now the interpretation will make sense. So you will consider that one to be the base group. As I promised, okay? As I promised. As I promised. Congratulations, Hoàng Tuấn. So, as a base group. So now let's say we do it again. You do it and then it will make sense, thank you. That let me explain. If I run this regression and I intentionally leave out one group, I will leave the group no. Now I leave out one group by removing the dummy of that group. Removing the group having no education is now the base group. Okay, now I'm running it. I'm running it, and this is what we would have, right? We would. And this I'm done. With this I'm done. So with this I'm done. Okay, with this I'm done. Now, so the coefficient of education master and more I am in deep trouble. Okay. Now I will fix the problem later. But the coefficient of primary education is 0. Okay. So interpretation. Interpretation. In comparison with those who did not have any qualification, a worker with a primary education degree earns 21.93% higher wages and salary. So the omitted group is now the base group. Okay. Again, this is the first one. The second one, in comparison with those who did not have any qualification, a worker with a bachelor degree earns 75.04%. Okay, you get how you know how to interpret that, right? This is how it works. Okay, you agree with me, ladies and gentlemen? Hello. Hello, you agree with me? Any objection? Any further question? Okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, now this is something I want to say sorry, and I have to correct it. Now, can you please focus on this command here? Can you please focus on this command here? I am generating a person having education of master degree or higher with education larger than 9. In Stata, missing value means infinity. So it is definitely larger than 9. So for that reason, even the people who do not have information on education will be given a 1 in the variable master and more. This is what I meant. If you type into Stata, type education master and more, Now this is a problem. Okay, education master and more. We take the one if a person has a, I have to run it again, but let's say I want to run it again like this one, so you won't get the result. I won't. Now you please pay attention to my to file. By dragging you through the empirical data processing process, I hope that I give you a real sense. And after the course, you will start doing working on your own independently. The knowledge, the body of knowledge is so large. I would, even if I spend all of my life, I would not be able to convey all of the models and the techniques. But giving you a real sense, and from that you can start doing your own work, is much more relevant to me. Yeah. Okay. So you see, the person who have a master and more include the person who have a master degree, a PhD degree, and something different here. This is something I have to be correct for. And also the ones who have missing value. This is problematic. Okay. Okay. So you have to correct for that by typing N is not equal to missing. Okay. Actually, this is not very satisfied because there is another group having other qualification. We do not know what other is, right? Which is equal to 12 here. 12 here, other qualification. So in this case, I think it will be safer to do this one. And the education is smaller than 12. Yeah, this is how it works. So it will take the education with number 11 and 9. Now, if we run that again, I would get the answer would be much better. You see? And now it only takes the values 1 when people have a qualification that is master or more. See? So it only takes the value of 1 when that is equal to 10 or 11. Yeah, 10 or 11. So this is something of an empirical process that you have to be very careful once you start doing the analysis. Okay, now, so this is the reason. So I have conveyed to you all of the information, most of the information in the slides. Yeah, by explaining you through this empirical process. I don't repeat myself with the slides, and you will see that. Now, a sad fact is none of you read the slide. If you had read the slide, you would have answered my 5.5 pluses question quickly. So in that slide, I already included the statement. If there are n groups, there could be maximum n minus 1 dummies. Okay, good. Okay, so this is something that I want you to focus on. And from now on, I think I have equipped you with quite techniques to do the empirical work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have been, you know, showing off a little bit. Why I'm saying that? Because actually you can do those things by the drop-down menu. Yeah, but you must know where to find it. So you click on data. You have here combine data set. If you want to merge two data sets, you click on it. You won't be able to merge one-to-one on key variables. Then you click on the key variables. That is the thing with xã, địa bàn, hộ số, mã thành Việt. Okay, and then you choose the using variable. You click on OK. It will also merge the data for you. And then you copy. And then you copy your command into data, into the do file. And you also have the data. Yeah. So now, by that, I want to tell you that you can use a drop-down menu here. But a much better way to do this is to ask. Now, whenever you have a problem, even the course doesn't start here. Doesn't stop here. This is a start. I just finished telling you a very rough map. And then you have to enter your long journey with a lot more knowledge that you have to acquire. That you have to acquire. So, my friend will always be there to help. And his name is Google. You know, so whenever you want to do something, you just need to type. You type data, combine, data graphs, for example, or data sets. Combine date and time, whatsoever you want to do. You just need to type roughly the keywords into Google. And then will be a lot of information merged and append and so on. Yeah. I mean, education is to give you a start, not to put you somewhere and leave you there. Okay, and now you are free to explore further on your career. Now, of course, in the slide, I also included the interaction. Interaction is kind of a discontinuation design, allowing you to specify the models that there is a jump of the impact. It has been here. I think I deliberately included the information in a very detailed way so that you can read it yourself. But basically, there is an interaction and so on. Yeah. So I will not drag you through until the evening because I understand that Ngọc Thảo and those you have to class in the afternoon. Good. Okay. So it's fair to stop just a little bit after 12. So that you guys can have lunch. I know that Vũ Minh Hiếu is very hungry now. You know, what can be more hungry if you have to study and your mother bring the lunch in front of you? Come on. That is more than torturing. But anyway, I'm sorry for dragging you through across 12 o'clock. I want to thank you for your patience. But I still need some 6 more minutes to tell you what I expect from you. One is that I will set out a beautiful problem set after this one. The examination this time will be the online examination supervised by Miss Hồng Hạnh and her colleague. And the examination questions will be more or less in the problem set that I'm sending you out. Okay? So I will send you beautiful questions. Don't worry. Don't worry that it will be too easy. The rule of the game is when I send you the set of problems, it will reflect not only what I have taught you, but it also reflects what I expect from you. There will be questions that I did not touch during the class. It will be in the problem set. But even so, the examination is not the end of our journey. I have included in our share folder a number of textbooks deliberately. Yeah, and I want to bring your attention to the book Econometric Analysis. This is not a book. We can call it an encyclopedia. It is presented in a straightforward way, almost all models in econometrics. Yeah, and our discussion so far is based on this one. This is the main textbook for a first year PhD course in many universities. But don't think that you are a PhD yet. If you now this is serious. If you finish your study and you have a good result, you may end up at a graduate school in the United States or at Frankfurt, and you will start studying this thing. Our program, you are equipped with the knowledge to go directly to a PhD program, a structured PhD program. Those programs are the origins of the finest minds in economics. So most of the discussion were taken from chapter 2, 3, and 4, and 5 of this book. I mean, I already said that at the beginning, right? But here are the much more. Chapter 2 is a much more comprehensive discussion of the assumptions of the OOS model. My experience is, if I haven't taken any course in econometrics, forcing me to read this text would be very difficult to start. But having taken this course, I would encourage you to read it, because now it is kind of a language that you know. Now I'm asking you to read English, no longer Japanese or anything. So it's straightforward. And the least square, the mechanism, and so on are included here. This is a repetition of what we did in our class. See? But it is in a much more comprehensive manner. I deliberately skipped the too much advanced stuff in the chapters. But after the course, nothing here is anything too much advanced anymore. You can read them and you can go from chapter 1 until chapter 26. That's fine. So for those of you who long to become a researcher in economics, this is something that you should start paying attention to. Maybe buy a book and put it as your pillow, and use it as your pillow. You know, every day you read only 2 pages. Within 1 year, you have finished 720 pages or so. That will bring you a long way. Yeah, a long way. So the books is theoretical, but the website includes all the data sets relevant to the book. You can run data, you can study. And with that, I wish you a lot of success in the journey ahead. And I want to thank you for your patience. I know that COVID has put some constraint on our interaction, but I hope that my goal is not to give you a course and then to give you some grade. I think the people who survive the course are all eligible for a good result. However, what I want is to open the door so that you can start a really serious self-studying journey and become fluent in econometric analysis yourself. Even though its name is econometric analysis, it will be applied to not only social science, but also in natural sciences, in statistics and so on. The methods, if you read the books, then they will be more or less the same. Don't get yourself be caught up in the so fancy word like big data, like machine learning, so on and so on. They must be based on such. This is the starting point. Yeah? And even big data and those stuff are easier than this thing. So the question from Nguyễn Võ Hoàng Anh is a closed book or open book? How can we control that you are opening the book or not? So I will give you so many questions that you have no time to open the book.
Hello, Miss. Hello, Dr. Han. Can I ask you?
So I will have a way to test your understanding of the course, and I will be very fair. So for those of you, I will delete the student number column, and I will share the performance Excel sheet with you all, so you will know how many pluses that you have got. And so on, so I want to be very transparent here, because this is a legal issue. Later on, if I adjust your grade up to 0.6, I must explain why. For example, if you got a 2.7 and now you get a 2.0, I have to explain why. Yeah, so it must be transparent, and I have been as transparent as I can. I hope that no one of you will make a lawsuit against me saying my friend have a much higher grade than I do, and I think it's unfair. So I have to be clear here, okay? This is how much this is how much credit that you guys have got. So I think the ones who are here today mostly will already have the plus already. I try to give hello Longzi. I tried to give you a plus, but I couldn't, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But anyway, I want to thank you for your attention and thank you for your patience, and I wish you a lot of success with your journey ahead. And thank you, and goodbye.
Oh, can I ask you? Do we have to use the data during our exam, or you will give it to us?
Thầy không nghe được em Minh Nguyên ơi.
Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now I
hear
can
me.
hear.
Okay, good. Please start speaking. I can hear you now, Minh Nguyên.
Do we have to use the data during our exam, or you give us a table of data?
I will give you the table.
So we don't have to run data during the exam, yes?
No. This is what you would get. You would get a table like this one, and I would ask you, for example, interpret this result. The F test here. Yeah. What does it mean?
Oh,
and
okay, I understand.
I may run a regression, and then I show you that adding more variables to the model leading to a lower adjusted R square. And I would ask you why. Yeah, that is something empirical. So, but believe me, I promise you that all of the numbers in the regression table would be discussed and explained. Now I have. You promise me that you understand all of them, and they will be very much likely in the examination. And to be honest, I will be frank to you. I don't want those who take the retake exam. Let's fight and sit in the first exam. Why? Now I will ask all of the questions that I have presented here. In the retake exam, I will never use the same question again. So I will ask the first time exam, we will focus on the topics that we discussed in the class. In the retake exam, in order not to repeat the first time exam, the question will be twisted, and most of the time it will sound more difficult. Actually, it is not. So if you want to pass the course as easily as possible, you focus on the first time examination. And to be honest, most of the time the people who took the retake exam hardly, but some did not make it to very well. Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you.
with that, thank you and goodbye. Okay. Bye bye. Okay. So please thank you. Hello, Leti. This is the first time I saw you in months. Okay, good. Stop the recording. By the way, I will make the recordings available as soon as I can. Okay, I will end the meeting now. And bye bye. Bye bye to all of you. And thank you. Bye bye.